Hello and welcome to the third and final lesson. So today, let's focus on culture and language. So focusing on a comparison between American English and Australian English. So, are you ready? So first, let's look at greetings. For example, this is the same. Americans might say, "How are you?" And Australians might also say, "How are you?" But a common American greeting is, "How are you doing?" or "How you doing?" Whereas in Australia, it's more common to say, "How is it going?" or "How's it going?" Or let's imagine you're at a food place like McDonald's or a cafe. The staff might ask you, is it to have here or to go in the US? But it's more common in Australia, is it eat in or take away? Okay. Now, let's look at some other common expressions. So first one, in answer to how you're doing or how are you going, in America they might answer, "I'm doing all right," or "I'm doing good." Whereas in Australia, we'd more likely say, "Not bad," or "Pretty good." Okay, and in America, as an answer, "No problem," meaning it's okay. But in Australia, we would more likely say, "No worries." Okay, another difference between American and Australian English is, for example, an American might say, "I'll do something real quick." For example, "I'll go to the toilet real quick," or "I'll brush my teeth real quick." Whereas in Australia, we'll say, "I'll quickly." For example, "I'll quickly put on my shoes," or "I'll quickly get a drink." Now let's look at some words specifically that might be quite different. For example, in the US or America, they would say sweater, whereas in Australia we would say jumper. Okay, or jumpsuit in American English is tracksuit in Australian English, or sweatpants in American English would be tracksuit pants in Australia. Another common one is tank top in American English is singlet in Australia. And let's look at some other words. For example, elevator in American English is often called lift in Australia, or apartment in American English is often called flat or unit in Australian English. Okay, in American English they talk about college. I went to college in Washington, whereas in Australia we would say university or uni for short. How about in a car? So the back of a car in American English is trunk. But in Australia, we say boot. Likewise, with the front of the car, in American English, they would say hood, whereas in Australian English, we would say bonnet. So now it's your turn. So, number one, please practice the words and expressions before the lesson. And number two, look up any you don't know. So use a dictionary. What do they mean? And what else? Okay, so please research any other differences between Australian, American, and Japan that might be different. Okay? Good luck.